Ladies and gentlemen, it's Geoff Wilson here with Kurt Southern from Modern Martial Arts Center. Kurt, thanks for joining this episode of Fighters, Coaches, and Fathers. We did this interview a week or so ago, and we're redoing it now for some technical issues. So I appreciate you taking the time and joining us today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Hopefully this time it'll work out a lot better with the software here. So
yeah, for sure. Hey, listen, let's just jump right into it. Talk to me about, you're one of the coaches at Modern Martial Arts Center. You're one of the cornermen for MFC1 and a lot of your fighters over there. Talk to us, but let's go back. Talk to us a little bit about your journey into martial arts and your upbringing and your parents and that type of thing.
Yeah, okay. So I guess for me, my start in martial arts was when I was about 8 years old. As a kid, my dad and stepmom put me in wrestling as a kid. I had an older brother, and we used to wrestle with each other all the time, and they just wanted to put us in something that they thought we'd get a lot out of. And I think hockey was pretty expensive for kids, so they thought wrestling would be a good fit for us. So yeah, when I was 8 years old, that's how I got my start.
We stayed you out of the house, right? Stop wrestling in the house.
Sorry? Yeah, stop wrestling. I think it made it worse, though. We wrestled more in the house once we actually knew what we were doing, you know? Sometimes it got a little fighting each other and stuff, but yeah, as far as my upbringing goes, I would say I had a pretty normal childhood. I grew up with my mom when I was younger, and then she actually started to get sick. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was, again, about that 8 years old. Then me and my brother started at that period because she was, she wasn't able to take care of us anymore. So we started with my dad and my stepmom, and then they put us in wrestling. And then she ended up passing away actually when I was 12. So that was pretty hard on me. That was a tough lesson to go through as a kid at that age. But my family life with my dad and my stepmom was good. You know, they kept us out of trouble with wrestling and kept us busy, and they were loving and caring and did everything that way. But I guess that part was always really tough to deal with. And I had another older brother that passed away 6 days before my mom did as well. So that was I don't know, I guess it put a real damper, I guess, on my childhood in a way. Made things a little tough to deal with at that age. So I did get in a little bit of trouble, I guess, after that, because going through that, I don't know, just as a kid at that age, I did end up kind of getting into some fights and doing things like that, like throughout my teenage years, I think, because maybe I didn't maybe deal with it as well as a guy could at that age. So in my high school years and stuff, I think there's a little bit of pent up anger and stuff because I hadn't maybe dealt with that. So I think, that translated well into fighting for me, right? Because I was kind of would get into some fights as a kid, and then once I found mixed martial arts, so like wrestling was good to have that outlet and to go out and compete and get that out of me. But I think once I actually started doing mixed martial arts was really when I started to find a little bit more peace. I don't know what it was about the martial arts. I think the honor, the discipline, the respect that there is a little bit more in martial arts than wrestling is more sport based. So it's always about, winning competition, and they don't always generate that same level of respect and honor and discipline that's just ingrained in martial arts. So I think through that really helped me to just find a better path,
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I had no idea, Kurt. And I find that that story is a lot more common. Not exactly, but I mean, if we talk about guys like Adam Wayne, he lost both his parents Myself, my father passed away when I was 18 months old. Daniel Cormier lost a daughter, while he was wrestling. And I think that there's so much anger and so much despair when something like that can happen. If you don't channel it somewhere, you do end up in a bad situation. Have you?
It's hard to understand, especially as a 12-year-old kid, you don't, even if you have the tools and the people around you to deal with it, it's hard, you don't understand at that age. And then throughout the rest of your life, you kind of miss that element of like support and love as well growing up. So there's always a little bit of a hole there that you kind of need to fill or that's how I felt anyway,
Yeah, no, I think that that's pretty accurate across the board. And I think that where we see fighters and people see that or take advantage of it is they sort of change that feeling of anger and into more, like I mentioned, you have really, really good friendships outside of your family relationships because of that. I know I do, and I consider a lot of my friends brothers because they were there for me during those tough times and all that. And I think that there is a benefit to that, but you do have to channel it. Otherwise, it's almost an uncontrollable thing. So
yeah, and I did get into a little bit of trouble, like I said, in high school and stuff, where just getting into fights and just having that, it didn't take much, especially, if you're out partying with your friends in high school, and it just happens. I had gotten a little bit of trouble with the police as a young offender, and so not anything super serious, but things potentially, if I didn't have maybe wrestling or martial arts, there's a potential where things maybe could have got a little worse, and maybe went down a worse path, right?
Was there a moment, like a TSN turning point where you were like,
honestly, I think just once I started training mixed martial arts and I actually learned how to fight, there's something about that that's calming. I don't know. Something about that makes you just, I don't know, once you compete in it too, I think that it just, I don't know, gives you a sense of self-worth somehow, and it makes that other stuff just not as important. Like, what does it matter anymore, right? Like, let's just do this. And I think I saw a path where I could be successful, I guess. I saw the path through mixed martial arts where I could really do something, and maybe I hadn't seen that in any other area of life. So for me, that gave me purpose, I suppose. So it just helped me to channel all my energy there and not worry about anything else, I have a good wife too, I should say. I'll give her some credit. Meeting my wife, and I think she definitely kept me out of trouble a lot more and kept me balanced a little bit better too. So between her and mixed martial arts, I think that's what put me on the path that I am today.
Awesome. So thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about the event we had back at MFC1 in Saskatoon. You guys had, I think, 4 or 5 different fighters going there. You cornered a bunch of fighters. How do you prepare fighters for the professional ranks?
Well, they got to work. I mean, that's the biggest thing. They got to be there. They got to be committed. They got to, at the professional ranks, I think that people should take that seriously. Like it's a job almost, they should be in the gym training, minimum 2 hours a day. That's my opinion, depending on the day, depending on how much they've been training. But, and of course, rest is important. So if they need a rest day or 2 a week, that's important to make sure they're getting the gains. But, it's nice if you know their game, and if you can get a little bit about their opponent and try to develop some sort of a game plan is always nice, because there's so much in martial arts to train, right? So if you're getting a guy ready for a fight, you can't train all of martial arts for 6 weeks to get him ready. So it's nice if you can pick, a handful of drills or a handful of combinations or takedowns or submissions that or that you're hoping are going to work in the fight based on their style that they already have, and maybe based on their opponent's style if you can, you know, see any video or anything about them. So in my opinion, that's the best way to do it, is just pick a bunch of drills, and just drill, and then of course go into the sparring and the rolling sessions, and then see if those things are working and make the necessary adjustments there, right? Like if things aren't working in sparring, then we got to do something to figure it out, make the adjustments, put those into the drills, and then go back to the sparring, right? It's kind of like a science experiment almost, in a way, right?
Yeah, and it's great to understand this, because the world has changed since everybody and their dog can have a YouTube channel and everything's on video. So you're able to take a look at possibly things that fighters may have weaknesses to or have trouble with, which is great. On the other side of that, if you're fighting somebody in the amateur ranks and then the first time you fight him and you have no information, do you guys sort of talk about that feeling out process? Or if I do a jab, 2 double jab, this is what he does. How do you sort of set a fighter up to feel out when they're going in amateurs and they're going to take on their first fight?
Yeah. Oh, I always just tell the amateur guys that, you know, especially if you don't know anything about their opponent, just to try and implement your game, right? Because we don't know as much about the other guy. So just do the best at making the fight go your way, right? If you want to keep it standing and that's where you want to fight, then try to do the best to do that. Or if you want to take the guy to the ground, you know, do your best to impose your will on your opponent, right? If you can't, you know, we can't get a lot out of them, or sorry, we didn't see a lot of video, and I just tell them to do their game. But yeah, there's definitely a feeling out process where you can try and, you know, throw a jab and take a look and see how they're reacting, see what they're trying to do, see if they're trying to go for a takedown, see if they're trying to counter, and that's just, you know, just kind of basics of fighting in general, right?
Yeah. I heard a comment a couple of years back from somebody, and they were talking about the difference in the pro ranks versus amateur and just training. And what they said was, listen, when fight day comes, it doesn't really matter your emotional state. You will not rise to the occasion that's in front of you. You will default back to your worst day of training, and everything in that first fight will go wrong that can go wrong, and you have to survive. And once you understand, do you get what I'm saying?
Kind of, yeah. So you're saying in their first fight, they're going to feel like they're their absolute worst, kind of?
Well, they're good. Like, it doesn't matter if you go in, I'm going to win and I'm excited, this is going to be great. Mental state's important.
Yeah.
But as soon as you take your emotion into the ring and you get hit in the face, all of a sudden there's that adrenaline goes, and you're like, oh no, I'm losing, and you go back into bad habits instead of. Has that ever happened to any of your guys? Have you seen that? And how do you prepare a fighter to go, okay, that's going to happen? Is that natural? Can you move around it?
You know, I think I don't know how you prepare someone. I think there's some things that I like the phrase of experience is the best teacher. You know what I mean? So that you can tell them all day that they're going to get an adrenaline dump. You can tell them that they're going to feel tired. You can tell them they're going to feel more tired than they've ever felt before, because that's how I felt in my first fight too. Like, I was out there and I was just amped, right? And it went the full distance too. And after, I had to lay down in the back. I've almost felt like I was going to puke, because I exerted everything I had, because it went the full time, right? And I was hoping to go out there and finish it right away, right? So the whole time I think I was really tense, and I don't know if I was breathing. Yes, that's a good one. Make sure that they're breathing. But still, I still think that nothing will prepare you like going through it. You know what I mean? Like, you can try to prepare them mentally, but I think they just have to experience that. They have to feel what that feels like, and then that'll make them better the next time, right?
I love that. Nothing will prepare you better than going through it.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher. That's a good quote that I like, because everything, we can talk and tell our students that all the, the moves or the things we've done, or, until we're blue in the face, but they'll never actually learn it as well until they experience it themselves, like how it feels to get punched in the face, or what you have to do to slip a punch or roll a punch. It's like, we can tell them, but once they don't really get it till they do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then there's a refining process, I think, too, Kurt. Like when you say to a kid, "Hey, don't touch that burner on the oven; it's hot," and they got to go touch it to feel that it's hot, and then they burn. And then there's this overreaction of, "Oh, I can't even get close to it." So you kind of have to not only experience as the best teacher, but you kind of got to go in and keep experiencing that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Talk to me a little bit about the Bang Muay Thai system and what you guys are doing in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
We talked about Gary Kopas, cruiserweight champion that you guys have at your club. What's it like training with a boxer and in that system today?
Yeah, Gary's been awesome, man. It's cool to see a guy with that much experience. He's been boxing his whole life, and I don't know, 20 plus years. He's had boxing experience, right? And he's fought on the national team. He's been a pro. And to see him really flourish and gain a lot from the Bang Muay Thai system has been awesome. It's been really, really good to see, and really, reiterates what we're teaching and our style, and gives us, hope for the future. And then the future kids look at him too as a role model and something they can aspire to as well, even if they're MMA or kickboxing. But the BMT system, I fell in love with it. I actually went down to train for Team Alpha Male when I was fighting for the MFC title against Tom Galicchio. He's in the UFC now, but I ended up losing the fight. But still, what I got out of it is I spent a month at Alpha Male when Dwayne Ludwig was the head coach there, and it was my first exposure to the Bang Muay Thai system. And I just, like, at first it was tricky because it was all new. The way he calls up the combinations and the commands that he does, and things were way different than what I was used to. And the footwork and the stance switching, and it was just really foreign to me. So it took me a while to like understand and grasp and feel the flow of the system. And then plus training with like some of the best guys in the world really, really helped there. And then I came back to Saskatoon, to where we were training before, and I just felt like in that 1 month, my growth as a stand-up fighter just skyrocketed. Like, I was doing things, and everybody was telling me that, like, man, you look like a completely different fighter. You're a completely different my striking anyway, right? And so there was that aspect to it, and then I just was like, well, we got to keep learning this, right? So I contacted Dwayne, and I knew he had an affiliate program, so I asked him about it, and so he started sending me the affiliate videos, and me and Adam and some of the other guys just started working them, and then we just decided to affiliate and start up the Modern Martial Arts Center and run his system full time, and it's just been amazing. And the other thing that I really, really like about it that's cool is that, it's not just a system for fighters. There is that aspect of it where, if you want to fight and you want to compete, we have all these drills and these combinations and these theories and these concepts that are Bang Muay Thai. But also there's a cool aspect of it that's the traditional martial arts side of it as well, where we do have a belt ranking system. We do have like drills and combinations that anybody can benefit from, whether you want to be a professional fighter or you're just you just like to learn kickboxing, you're a fan of MMA, and then that way, you don't ever want to go and fight or even spar, but the belt ranking system gives you goals that you can still track your progress as you're working your way up the belt ranking system, right? Because actually a very small percentage of people actually want to get in there and like get into a cage and fight, right? But so I really like that, kids, like a bunch of kids that we have, they still can follow that traditional belt ranking system, but still learning like modern day high level techniques, but they don't have to go and fight to work their way up the belt ranking system as well. So that was one thing that I thought that was really, really brilliant of Dwayne to implement, to like bring the traditional martial arts back into modern day martial arts, you know? So that was something that I really fell in love with.
Interesting. And I hear that from a lot of people with the Bang Muay Thai system. And it's surprising when I talk to Gary Kopas, who's a pro boxer, been boxing 20 years on the national team, and I talked to Adam Lorenz, and they're like, yeah, when he started doing that, he started actually becoming way better. And to unlearn habits for both of you guys, what's that process like? Are you erasing old habits? Do you still have those other ones? What's the easiest way to unlearn bad or different or learn new habits, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, that's it. I wouldn't say it's erasing bad habits, maybe as just adding more elements to the game, and learning new concepts and understanding better where the openings are and positioning and where you need to be. And that all just comes from drilling. You know, Dwayne is one of the greatest minds in mixed martial arts, in my opinion. You know, he's one of the 2-time coach of the year. He's TJ Dillashaw's coach, right? He's won kickboxing championships himself, and he just understands the game at a higher frequency than most people do, right? So he just has dialed it down and created a bunch of drills and combinations and concepts that you just, you know, if you just follow the drills correctly, if you understand what you're doing and why you're doing them, if you drill it enough times, it just becomes natural, right? So we just drill is a huge part of our system. It's just repetition, you know? So I think that's where you get the improvement from, right?
Yeah, repetition becoming the mother of skill, and ultimately you want something to be automatic and not something you have to think about. That's great. Hey, talk to me, you know, I know we talked a little bit about, well, first of all, let's talk about MFC2. I spoke to Adam, and we talked a little bit about Mr. Kurt Southern, yourself, and we talked, and we were like, you know, he was supposed to fight on that same card on World Series of Fighting, and he didn't get his opportunity. The component didn't make weight, and he had this big smile on his face. And I was like, Adam, is there something you're not telling me? And he's like, we want to get him on the next card. He was talking about you. I'm probably blowing that up. Are you thinking about getting back in the ring in maybe October?
You know, it's hard. You know, it's especially, I don't know, my last fight, I'm not super happy with the way it ended. You know, so there's always that, like, I want to get in there and redeem myself, I suppose. It comes and it goes. I wouldn't say it's a for sure thing. I wouldn't say it's not going to happen. I'm still a little bit on the fence about it. It's always been my dream, one of my dreams, or one of my bucket list things to do, is to fight, you know, in my hometown in front of my people. And I never ever got that opportunity. You know, I fought in Regina, I fought in Weyburn. That was the closest I have fought. So it's definitely crossed my mind. So I wouldn't count it out completely. So we'll see. We got the tricky part is you know, Adam is going to be busy with promoting the show, and then you know, so if we have some of our guys on there, you know, that we do have a really good coaching staff though, but that was the tricky thing. I don't want to leave our other guys hanging, not having a coach, because I'm fighting on the card too, right? So if we can kind of figure out a way to make that work, that would make it a lot more appealing to me, because, you know, we got some of our young guys that we brought up from day one, and I'd hate to, you know, send them out there without a coach in their corner, which that wouldn't happen. Again, we do have an amazing coaching staff, but I don't know if I would be able to pull double duty and be in the corner and then be also fighting on the same night myself. I don't know. Maybe I could. We'll see. I think about that.
Did Adam do that in Saturday Night Fights? I don't know if he did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He stayed in the back and relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, you got to focus
on a lot of adrenaline. Like, you get the same, almost a similar adrenaline down when you're in the corner as you do when you're fighting. Well, not quite the same, but you still get like that excitedness. So I don't know if that's a good idea if you want to get that, you know, once or twice and then go out there and fight after. I don't know. Maybe it'd be better. Maybe you'd be calm by the time you got into the ring, and you'd just be like, you made that walk already 2-3 times that day, and then you're just doing it again. So maybe it would help. I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
I've talked to Adam about that. He's the mental guy. He's a psychologist, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Hey, listen, I really appreciate taking the time here. This is a great interview. Talk to me before we go. And I mean, I know we sort of talked about growing up and your parents, but talk to me a little bit about a lesson or one of the most important lessons that you learned sort of growing up from family members that has made you sort of into the person who you are today, Kurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my dad has always been a big role model to me. You know, he showed me. He just was a great example of somebody who just worked really, really hard. You know, and he just did his best to provide for his family, and he was probably the hardest. Well, he is one of the hardest workers that I know, and he just showed me what it's like to, I guess, just shut your mouth and just work hard, and just that's how he got things done, you know. And for me, that's kind of something that has really helped me as well in my life and my martial arts career. Is, you know, I don't ever go out and say I'm the smartest guy, or I'm the funniest guy, or I'm the friendliest guy, but there's one thing that I think that's got me where I'm at, and it's just working hard, you know, and trying to work as hard as you can and to get what you want. Find something you want and just go for it and put everything into it. I think just watching him growing up, that was something that I learned a lot from him, doing that, just hard work.
Yeah, it's a great way to end. If anybody wants to come to Modern Martial Arts Center, how do they get a hold of you? When are classes, that type of thing?
They can email me at bmtsaskatoon@gmail.com, or check out our website, MMA Center, yxc.com. Is that what it is? Damn it. Or just Google Modern Martial Arts Center. It'll come up on the Google search as well. Classes are in the evenings every night from 6:15 till 9 o'clock. But our schedule is also on our website. We also have weekend classes. We got daytime classes now as well. If, you know, people are interested in that. People work different shift work or night, or people work nights. So we got a bunch of daytime classes. We got great staff. We have great coaches, great kids programs as well. So heck yeah, come check it out. Great environment. We have a very positive environment as well, which people are really, really love. So.
That's great. Well, if you're in the Saskatoon area, go see Kurt at Modern Martial Arts Center. Kurt, thanks so much for taking the time, and look forward to see you later in the year, whether it's as a coach or as a fighter.
Right on. Thank you.
Take care, my friend.